Okay, we're going to continue with Unit 6, Basic Maneuvers in Low-Risk Environments. And we're going to talk about turning around. There are different types of turnarounds. We're going to talk about 2-point turns, 3-point turns, U-turns. And let's watch this video. Video 6.4, dealing with turning around.
When driving and you need to turn around, the safest way is to back into an alley or driveway on the right. Before turning around, check traffic to the rear and signal intention to the right. Make sure the alleyway or driveway is clear. Back slowly, turning the steering wheel all the way to the right. As the vehicle centers in the alley or driveway, straighten the wheels. Then turn on the left signal, shift to drive, and check the traffic in both directions. Turn left into the proper lane and accelerate as appropriate. Another way to turn around is to head into an alley or driveway on the left. To do this, check traffic and signal left. Stop as the rear bumper clears the edge of the roadway. To back out, shift to reverse. Signal to the right and check traffic. When it is safe, turn the steering wheel rapidly all the way to the right, then straighten the steering wheel as you enter the lane. Then shift to drive and accelerate smoothly. A more complex way to turn around, if there are no alleys or driveways, is to complete a 3-point turnabout. To do this, check traffic, signal right, and stop as close as possible to the right edge of the roadway. Check traffic again, signal left, turn and move slowly forward while steering rapidly all the way to the left. Quickly check for traffic, shift to reverse, back slowly and steer sharply to the right until your wheels are close to the edge of the road. Again, check traffic, shift to drive, and steer into the proper lane, adjusting speed as appropriate.
All right, video 6.4, video review. What is the safest way to turn around? The safest way is to back into a driveway so you can pull out of it going forward. That's the safest way. When heading into an alley or driveway on your left to turn around, where should you stop the vehicle once in the lane? Well, when you make a left, you're going to pull into the driveway and you're going to get the car completely off the road. And you'll wait for traffic and then you'll back out. And we'll show you that here in a minute. When is the only time you should use a 3-point turnaround maneuver to turn around? You should only use a 3-point turn when there's no driveways to be used. So let's talk about 2-point. This here is the safest way to do it. You're going to drive up, you're going to back into the driveway, and you're going to pull out. Let's watch this car do this. So you can see 2-point turn. It's going to pull it forward. It's going to line up his bumper past the driveway. It's going to put it in reverse. And he's going to turn the wheel hard right. And they're going to back into the driveway, stopping right there. Now the other one is to pull in, like they were saying, into the driveway to your left. Now you can watch this car here do that. You're going to pull up. You're going to turn the wheel hard left. When you get off the road, you're going to stop. You're going to put it in reverse, straight back. When your back wheels get to the road, turn the wheel hard right. And there you go. The most dangerous of turns is a 3-point turn. Most dangerous because you're basically blocking traffic. Only to be used during the lightest traffic. Never attempt near a hill or a curve so cars can see you. And basically all you're going to do for a 3-point turn is you're going to pull off the side of the road. You're going to stop, make sure it's clear. You're going to try to do a U-turn, go all the way to the left. and then you're going to put it reverse. Part 2, turn the wheel, stop. Part 3, go forward. There's a 3-point turn. U-turns. Mid-block or at intersections, check the laws and road signs to make sure it's legal to do so. Now this picture is technically not legal because you're crossing a solid double yellow line. Important to stop as close to the right edge before turning. Best thing to do a U-turn is pull into a parking lot someplace off the road to do it. U-turns can be very dangerous. Another part of Unit 6, we're going to talk about parking. And there's different types of parking. We have curbside parking, parallel parking, perpendicular, angle parking.
Turns into parking spaces are like any other turn, only a bit tighter. We position the car and signal just as we would for a right turn. We're far enough away from the other cars to make a wide turn. As we turn, we get our left bumper as close to the left as we can, so that our right rear clears the car on the right. And then pull all the way to the curb. Angle parking is similar, but easier. Getting in and out of a parking place along the curb is a good test of our ability to handle a car. Some states include it on the license exam. First, we stop with the back end of the car even with the front of the parking spot, about 2 feet away from the other car. We shift to reverse and check behind. We back slowly, turning the steering wheel to the right until the car is aimed at the back of the parking space. Then we straighten the steering wheel to drive toward the car behind. As we clear the rear of the other car, we turn the steering wheel sharply left while backing slowly. We want to keep the rear wheels 6 to 12 inches from the curb. If the tires are against the curb, we can't turn. We continue backing until the car almost touches the car behind. Now, we turn the wheel to the right and pull forward until the car is lined up with the curb. We move the car back or forward as needed to even out the space. Parallel parking is tricky and doesn't always succeed the first time. We may end up too close to the curb and find that we can't back far enough. Or we may end up too far from the curb and too far out in the street. If so, our best bet is to pull out and start the process over again. Leaving is a little easier. We back the car slowly, then we turn the wheel to the right to aim the front of the car toward the street. If the parking space is cramped, we may need to start backing with the wheel hard to the right. Turn hard left and enter the street slowly. After entering the street, we steer to the right to align the vehicle in the lane, straighten the steering wheel, and accelerate to match the speed of traffic. Just to be absolutely sure it doesn't take off on its own. Of course, we always set the parking brake and put the car in park, so this will never happen. Well, almost always. If we're parked on a downgrade, we need to turn the wheels sharply to the right and let the car roll up against the curb. If there's no curb, we just turn the wheel sharply to the right. If the car does roll, it will stay out of the road. Facing uphill, We can turn the wheels sharply left and let the car roll backward against the curb. Again, if there's no curb, we can turn the wheel right so the car would roll away from the road.
All right, video 6.5, video review. How should the driver position the car before parallel parking? You want to line up in front of the car in the spot you want to park in, and you want to line up back bumper to back bumper. When parallel parking, how far from the curb should the driver keep the tires? About 12 inches, but I'm more concerned about, are you lined up with the front and the back of the car? But at 12 inches. When parking uphill, with or without a curb, which way should the driver turn the tires? Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute here. So we'll go to that slide here coming up. Here's that slide for hill parking. When you're downhill without a curb, you turn it to the right. When you're downhill with a curb, you turn it to the right. When you're uphill without a curb, you turn it to the right. When you're uphill with a curb, you turn it to the left. I'm not sure why you can't go right every time, but they want you to go left for uphill with the curb. All right, when you leave traffic, search for a place to park, check following traffic, turn your signals on, release the brake. We said this is parking on a curb. Apply steady pressure for a smooth stop, and you're going to park on the side of the road. Angle parking. The key to angle parking is when you clear this back bumper, you're going to start turning the wheel. Once we've parked, we go backwards, looking over our right shoulder. Keep the wheel straight. Do not turn the wheel until you clear both bumpers, and then you'll turn the wheel to the right. This is one-way parking. See this video here. Turn the audio off here so you can see. It clears this back bumper. Start turning the wheel. See, they turned a little too late. I go a little bit tighter, but they're saying side mirror. Perpendicular parking, more difficult than angle parking because your car must turn a perfect 90 degrees and slide between two vehicles. Again, when you clear this back bumper, you need to be a little further away. You'll turn the wheel, and every time you park, I forgot to tell you this, you're always hovering the brake. Do not use the gas at all. Parallel parking. You're going to line up bumper to bumper. You're going to turn the wheel all the way to the right. When you get to the wheel, you're going to straighten out your wheel, come in. Once your front bumper clears the back bumper, you'll turn the wheel to the left. So let me show this to you. Part one, you're going to align the car with the bumper, and you're going to turn the wheel all the way to the right. So, we're not going to be able to watch it. So you're going to line bumper to bumper. You're going to turn the wheel all the way to the right, and you're going to back up. As soon as you're aligned with the bumper, you're going to straighten your wheel out. So you're going to straighten, once you end up to the bumper, you're going to straighten your wheel out. So that was part one. Here's part two. You straighten your wheel out and go straight back. Part three is, as soon as we can clear this back bumper, we're going to turn the wheel. So they're going to show you again part two here at the end. So there's part two. Now turn the wheel hard left once you can clear that back bumper. Once you clear that back bumper, turn the wheel hard left. And you are in. How far away should you park from a fire hydrant? The answer is 15 feet. But just in case you didn't know that, a lot of times they will paint the curb red. How far away should you park from the nearest railroad crossing? 50 feet. Again, if you don't have a tape measure or know that, they'll mark the pavements. We talked about pavement markings. That's 50 feet away from the nearest rail. How far away should you park from the curb? About 12 inches. But like I said, I'm more concerned with, are you lined up in the front and the back?
You've been hearing it your entire life. Clean up after yourself. Don't leave a mess. Put things in their proper place. Putting things in their proper place is important. Same thing goes with your car. When you're done with your car, even if it's for the day or just for a moment, you need to know where to properly park your vehicle. I mean, could you imagine if you just left your car in the middle of the street? The results could be probably just a good idea to park your car where it's supposed to be. Just avoid the whole problem. Besides, you think it's bad when your mom is yelling at you for leaving your stuff around? Wait until you have a cop yelling at you for it.
So, you ready to do a bit of parking?
Yes, I was born to park.
Alright.
Now, the first thing you want to consider when you're choosing a parking space is, if possible, choose a space that doesn't require any backing up. Putting your vehicle into reverse is a higher risk maneuver. And remember, you always want to keep your risk as low as possible.
Well, what if I have to back up? Like if there's a spot where I can't just pull into or something like that?
If you have to back up, then I would suggest backing into the parking space. That way, when it's time to leave, you'll be pulling straight out.
Okay.
All right. Now, the first parking that we're going to practice is curb parking, and that doesn't require any backing up. See that curb up there? Yep. That's where you're going to want to park. You're going to pull the car right alongside the curb and park. The wheels should be no further away than 18 inches from the curb.
Okay.
Good. Not so bad, right?
Piece of cake.
All right.
You know, it's kind of like lane changing, except, well, we come to a stop.
Now, whenever you park next to a curb, you want to check for any parking signs, because you may only be allowed to park here for a limited time, or not at all. Let's get out of the car. Take a look at this curb.
All right. Yeah, I don't see anything.
Whenever you park next to a curb, you always want to check the curb itself. Now, this curb is not painted, so it's okay to park there unless there was a sign that said otherwise. But a lot of curbs will be painted, and the color that it's painted will determine if you can park there or not.
Really?
Now, there are many different colors of curbs, and you need to be aware of them all. For example, if the curb is painted red, you cannot park there.
Sounds easy enough.
Sure, but if the curb is painted green, you can park there, but for a limited time. If the curb is painted blue, you can park there if you have a handicapped place card or license plate. If the curb is painted yellow...
Okay, stop. Yellow, green, red, blue, all these colors? I can't take it.
All right, relax. You can study that on your own time.
Okay.
Let's get back into the vehicle.
All right.
Now remember, when you're pulling away from the curb, it's just like changing lanes, except for this time you'll be changing lanes from a stop position. So you want to make sure you have plenty of room. You need room to accelerate into the flow of traffic. All right, go ahead. Once you pull into this parking lot here, practice some other parking. Now, see all these parking spaces in here?
Yeah.
Perpendicular parking is the type of parking you're going to use to park in these spaces. It's a lot like making a right or left turn, except you're going to stop once you've made your turn. All right, see this space between these two cars?
Yeah.
That's where we're going to practice. You'll first want to signal about 100 feet before you get to the parking space.
Okay.
You want to check over your shoulders, left and right, make sure that there's nothing changing. Any changing conditions on your left and right, like pedestrians, other cars pulling out of their spaces. Okay, so let's go for it. Once you come up to the spot, you're going to start reducing your speed and stop once you hit the space. All right, go ahead and execute.
All right.
Good. All right, now if you have the option, you want to try to pull through to the next space if there was a space here in front of us. All right? Because that way you'd be facing forward into the road and you wouldn't have to back out of the space. You could just drive straight ahead. But in this case, we can't do it. We've got a wall right here. So what would have been a better option if we came to the same spot?
Find another parking spot?
Well, yes, that would work. but you could also back into the space. That way, you'd be facing forward into the road. You could just pull right out, you know? And you'd use the same reversing techniques that you would if you were reversing into a driveway.
Yeah, I think I remember practicing that when I was doing those 2-point right rear turnabout things earlier. It's pretty easy.
Now, there is one exception to this rule. If a parking lot has all angled parking spaces, a lot of times that'll be in parking lots where the roads are all going the same direction. You do not want to back into those spaces, because if you back into it, when you come out, you'll be facing the wrong way on the one-way road. So you always just want to drive face forward into that spot. And you can go through to the other space if there is one in front of you.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So how do you think you're doing with this parking thing?
Oh, so it's pretty simple, really.
All right, I'm glad you said that.
Thank you.
Because you have one more maneuver to do. Parallel parking.
Are you gonna make me learn how?
Of course. That's what they pay me for. Okay. Now, the furthest set of cones, you're going to pretend that's the car you're going to be parking behind. Just stop right about here. This is good. Now, the first thing you need to do when you're parallel parking is to make sure that there aren't any conditions that you need to be aware of, like cars coming up from behind you or cars pulling away from the curb.
Dude, we're in an empty parking lot.
Pretend, okay?
Right, okay.
Okay, good. Then you want to use your turn signal, okay?
Yep.
About 100 feet before you get to your space. That way drivers will know that you're about to park.
Okay.
All right. Now go ahead and pull up here alongside that car. Make sure that you are lined up parallel, okay? So that the back of your car is lined up with the back of their car, your bumpers.
There really isn't even a car there.
Pretend. Remember?
Right.
Okay, now don't get too close to that car. You want to leave about 2 feet between them or you're not going to have enough room to make your maneuver.
Okay.
Now, use your reversing procedure. Check your mirrors. Look over your shoulder. Shift into reverse, but keep your foot on the brake.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you're going to want to slowly go backwards, all right? Until the front of your car is lined up with the front door of their car. Turn your wheel sharply to the right and reverse your car so that the angle is 45 degrees to the curb. Good. Now, turn your wheel sharply to the left, and you want to continue backing up in there while you straighten out your wheels. And make sure that the front of your vehicle clears the back of their vehicle. And as soon as it does, you want to come to a stop. Straighten out your wheels.
Okay.
Great. And then put on your parking brake. All right.
Got it.
Not so bad, was it?
It's okay, I guess. Kind of hard, though.
You know, it's a little more difficult than it looks, but, you know, you're really getting the hang of it. I really think you're going to be great at doing this.
Honest?
Pretend, okay?
All right, the last part for Unit 6, we're going to talk about passing and how to pass a car. Now, the first thing we'll do is we'll watch our buddy here, and this is the wrong way. So don't pass anybody this way. Well, that was the wrong way. So now let's talk about the right way. Remember, his understanding was if they didn't want you crossing over the solid yellow lines, it would be barriers. They're just suggestions. They're not. Remember, you cannot cross a solid yellow line. And now, let's talk about the right way to pass. Video 6.6.
Let's see how long it takes us to pass. According to the timer, that took 12 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, we traveled about 968 feet. So we need a gap of 968 feet to pass at 55, right? Not even close. That oncoming car will travel the same distance we do. That will cut our gap in half meaning we need twice as much distance. Gap City.
That's what makes passing on two-lane roads so dangerous. Head-on crashes are not common, comprising less than 2% of all crashes, but they account for about 15% of fatalities.
The human eye can't detect motion at the distance we need in order to pass at highway speeds. A car that far away seems to be standing still. That means if the car seems to be getting closer, it's already too close. Rule 1. We can't always see far enough ahead. Oops! That leads to Rule 2. When curves or hills keep you from seeing far enough ahead, assume there's a car just about to appear. We need the same distance to a hill or curve as to an oncoming car. Here comes the last rule. What do we do now, other than pray? Maybe someone will let us back in the right lane, but we can't count on it.
Video review for video 6.6. If the oncoming car seems to be getting closer, it means it's too close to pass the car. If they seem to be getting closer, you don't have enough room. If it seems to be just staying on the horizon, you have enough room. When curbs or hills keep you from seeing far enough ahead, you should not pass. You need about 10 or 12 seconds to pass, so therefore you need to see about 10 to 12 seconds ahead and make sure that traffic is clear. Don't start to pass unless you can do so safely and that you can start legally passing and end within the pass zone. You can't start and cross broken lines and then end up crossing solid lines. You must complete the entire passing the vehicle within the broken lines. Illegal to pass, use two rules, common sense and don't cross a solid line. Like number 1, solid yellow line, don't cross it. Oncoming traffic, common sense. Do not pass uphill, solid yellow line. Don't pass the intersection, solid yellow line. Do not pass at railroad crossing, solid yellow line. Do not pass at bridges, solid yellow line. And don't pass on a curve, common sense, because you can't see a car 10 to 12 seconds ahead. Passing procedures, you're going to prepare to pass, you're going to overtake the vehicle, and you're going to return to your lane. You need to estimate the passing gap, count the seconds it takes for an oncoming vehicle to pass in the opposite lane. You need about 10 to 12 seconds, like I said. Do this until accurate at estimating the time. If you can see a vehicle approaching, it is not safe to pass. Passing on the right is legal as long as you don't cross a solid line, and it's legal in double lanes, and you're passing a car making a left-hand turn. This is illegal, though. You can't pass a car making a left-hand turn if you are crossing a solid white line. Yelling no passing lines. No passing lines are solid yellow. Like we said earlier, when the solid yellow line is on your side of the center line, you may cross it to finish passing. When the solid line, let's repeat that again. When the solid yellow line is on your side of the center line, you may cross it to finish passing the vehicle you started passing before beginning. Oh, well, that's interesting. I've been teaching for years that you can't do that. So, according to that, you can. Interesting. So basically, what you're going to do is you're going to put your turn signals on. You're going to make the lane change. Once you see his headlights, you're going to get back over. There's two ways to do this. When being passed, if there's no immediate threat, then stay in your lane. Do not speed up or slow down. Let them pass or let them abort and slow down and get behind you. As soon as they pass you, slow down and give them space. But if you're in a situation where there is an oncoming threat, you must do something. So what you're going to do is you're going to slow down and you're going to get to the shoulder of the road and give them the lane. So you're going to get over. The reason up here that you don't want to do anything if there's no oncoming threat is because a lot of times if they think they can't pass you and you think they can't pass you, you both hit the brakes, you both slow down, then you both speed up, and that causes a problem.